Hey, Shalom Malcolm, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem HaKodash. Once again, I want to say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us His truth. And as always, I want to give much peace, love, and salutations to the elect of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, that's pushing this word with all truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Tazamah from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, coming back today with another lesson. And Lord willing, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, this lesson will be edifying. And as you Akim and you few Akwaf that listen, and that believe, I like to go to this guy's website, which is endoftheamericandream.com, and read articles based upon particular things that are going on in the world, and the way that he words his articles are very, very in a sense, I want to use the word prophetic in a sense, because of course you could pull a lot of precepts out based upon the way that he speaks within the article. So as you see here, as this particular article caught my attention, all right, it says five signs that the war between Russia and NATO, which is Gog and Magog, which is Russia, and NATO is the beast, written about in Revelation, the 13th chapter. All right, Revelation, Daniel chapter 7. No, bro, get behind me. Daniel chapter 7. All right, Daniel chapter 2. All right, at the going to the point of the 10 toes. All right, it's all biblical prophecy. Okay, it's all biblical prophecy at the end of the day. And when you see these things happen, all right, we understand and know that we're at the last days of the last days. We're in the last time. All right, as the scripture says in the book of Habakkuk, it says, at the end it shall speak, though it tarry, wait for it shall surely come, it shall not tarry. So we understand and we know that we're at the last time, because these things are beginning to happen on the planet Earth on a large scale. All right, and like I said before in the beginning of the lesson, World War III, I rather say, which is going to be a war that's going to consist of all nations on the planet Earth, but it's going to be the main opponents, I'll rather say, in World War III is going to be Babylon the Great, which is America. All right, NATO and the EU, which NATO is short for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the EU, the European Union, these different NATO and EU nations. All right, Russia, which is Gog and Magog, Iran, which are the Persians. All right, China, and then eventually, according to prophecy, the 10 horns are going to hate the whore. So even America's own allies are going to eventually turn on this place. You see, and that's what's coming. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and read this article. And like I said, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, I pray that He provides me with the precepts necessary for this lesson to be edifying to the elect, because that's the reason why we do these lessons is for the edification of the elect. All right. So it says, have you ever found yourself completely losing your temper in the middle of a heated struggle of some sort? It says, whether it is a hotly contested sporting event like football or whatever, an actual fist fight, or a bitter battle against an online foe. But you got a lot of that, you got a lot of that, that happen, whereas people get online and just be keyboard warriors, and that can, you could sometimes, I don't want to say be losing. You could feel like you're losing your mind sometimes going against these damn demons on the keyboards, on the computer. But hey, there's particular individuals who are built for that lot or whatever. All right, but anyways, it says it could be way too easy to lose your temper. It says, and when tempers flare, you can end up losing control and doing things that you deeply regret later, right? And the spirit that Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is going to place upon Russia as you read in Ezekiel the 38th chapter, let's actually pull that real quick, because the prophecies state that the Lord is going to put hooks in their jaws and turn them back. So it's not necessarily just going to be, you know, Russia in a sense, just, you know, operating off their own mind, and President Putin operating on his own accord. No, it's the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua that's causing these things to play out on the planet Earth, because he works on the minds of individuals. Okay, this is Ezekiel 38 verse 1. It says, "And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog," which Gog is Russia, "the land of Magog," which is part of Russia. It's all the same thing. "The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal." Okay, so it's not that the Russians or, you know, Gog and Magog is going to eventually come into power after Babylon the Great is destroyed, and then now they're going to be the next powerhouse to rule. No, the Lord is just going to use Russia as a main catalyst, if you will, to bring forth judgment upon the great whore that rides upon the beast. All right, it's going to be nothing more than an instrument of war. Okay, because that's why the Lord's name is known as what? Yahweh of hosts. You see, the Lord of armies. He's the one that rules in the kingdom of men, as it is written in Daniel the 4th chapter. You see, so everything that we see is all the doings of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua ultimately at the end of the day. All right. Verse 4, it says, and I will turn thee back. All right, pretty much it's showing you that the Lord is in control, and put hooks into thy jaws. And putting hooks into someone's jaws is a sense of pretty much controlling that individual. You see? So the reason as to why you see Russia a lot more prominently in the news, like at my job, we was having like a little team meeting or whatever last week, and I remember one of my supervisors going in, pretty much talking about how the price of everything is increasing. So they're doing RIFs, which is short for reduction in force. And she just kept saying, "Madman Putin, Madman Putin, Madman Putin." We don't know what Madman Putin's going to be. We understand we're in a very, very crazy time right now where where World War III could actually happen, because Madman Putin. And she just kept saying that, and in my head, I'm just sitting there, just like, man, these people don't even understand. They don't even know. They will call Halal Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua because we know, right? So it says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth. You see that the Lord is going to bring forth Russia. He's going to bring forth Gog and Magog, right? And all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. See, it's a reason as to why Russia's weaponry has been increasing over the past decade, really. You see, they have hypersonic missiles, missiles that can pretty much break the sound barrier and break any kind of missile defense system. Their the S-400s are pretty much older systems now. But they got like the S-500, S-500, S-600. Which are like surface to air missiles. They got submarines that pretty much are under the water that could shoot forth missiles that could cause tidal waves, like a particular missile called I want to say it's called the Poseidon, that can pretty much take out a whole coast. And it's a spirit that the Lord is placing upon Russia to create these weaponry, because the scripture says in Isaiah the 54th chapter, let's grab that real quick. It says that the Lord, let's get it real quick. Isaiah 54:16. All right, it says, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire." So an ancient blacksmith, all right, would be the ones that would go forth, and they would pretty much blow the coals in the fire to make a weapon, to make a sword, to make a shield, to make a spear, to make arrows. That's what a smith is. So the Lord said, I created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. Excuse me. It says, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And that instrument for the Lord's work that he's going to do on the planet Earth Because the whole earth isn't going to be destroyed. What I say upon the planet Earth is the fact that Yahweh Shah is going to return to planet Earth, and it's going to be, that's why it's called a World War III. Now, Babylon the Great, America going to be completely burned and destroyed. All right, this whole land of America is going to be no more, according to biblical prophecy. And the work or the instrument that the Lord is going to use, all right, behind the chariots, or I'd rather say with the chariots of Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shah, which are the angels, what the world calls UFOs, he's going to use those missiles, which are going to be shot from the ends of the world. Like when you read in 2nd Ezra, it says the arrows of a mighty archer. Those are talking about the missiles. You see, it says, and I have created the waster to destroy. And those nukes, man, those ICBM thermonuclear missiles, you better believe that they're going to waste away. They're going to waste a large portion of land. All right, like I said, America is going to be completely destroyed, but there's going to be other places of the planet Earth that's going to get hit too. All right, and a lot of people are going to be wasted. You see, when this world war commences, man, a lot of people are going to die. That's why the scripture says that the slain of the Lord shall be many. Okay. It's also written that the Lord said that he's going to pour out their blood like dust. And dust is everywhere. Okay, there ain't a place on the planet Earth where it's not dust. which is figurative of all the bloodshed that the Lord is going to bring. Okay? Verse 5, back in Ezekiel 38. It says Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, which is the land of Ethiopia today, right? Or Kush, right? And Libya with them, which is north. I want to say Libya is in North Africa, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. I want to make sure I'm validating what I'm saying. I want to make sure I'm not getting that mixed up with another. North Africa. For some reason I was getting that mixed up with. I don't know. I don't know why I was getting that. I was getting that mixed up with Yemen for some reason. That's bottom of Saudi Arabia. But it says Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Okay, so Russia's going to have a lot of allies that are going to be with them in this next world war, on top of NATO nations turning against America. So America's going to be completely isolated, with its only ally being the state, quote unquote, of Israel, which they're going to be isolated too, because the state of Israel, or that land over there, our land is going to be, the Lord going to burn it up and clean it so that we can inhabit it. That's what's going to happen. Okay, so let's go back to the article. It says, unfortunately, the same thing is true on an international level. Russia and NATO have both become absolutely obsessed with quote unquote winning in Ukraine, which this whole ordeal with Ukraine, which Ukraine is nothing more than a plot of land that was originally a part of the USSR, which the USSR, if I'm not mistaken, is short for the United Socialist Soviet Republic. All right, that's all that Ukraine pretty much was a part of. And all Russia is doing is just gathering a plot of land and annexing that land back to its original plot. You see? But NATO, all right, they want to occupy Ukraine pretty much to do the main thing is to pretty much be in Russia's back door, to place weaponry there. All right, so that whenever World War III does commence, they can already have pretty much, for lack of better words, easy access, for lack of better words. You see? That's what they want to do. Okay? So it's pretty much setting up in Russia's back door. And this whole thing that we're seeing in Ukraine, is all a rumor of war. Now it is actually happening, and it is pretty much causing things to heat up. You see? But we got to remember what the prophecy says, because it's not going to be next, like tomorrow with Russia and Ukraine, this is going to be the spark of World War III, then Yahweh Shah is going to return. No, there's going to be, there's still other prophecies that have to come to pass first, which we know the main prophecy is what? the mandatory implementation of the MOTB, which is the CHIP. Okay, we understand and know that that has to happen first before any kind of destruction happens on a mass scale. Now, could there be, any kind of could there be a dirty nuke or whatever that could go off over there? Absolutely, that could happen. I'm not saying that that's impossible, but we understand and know that widespread destruction isn't going to happen until the mandatory implementation of the MOTB. We do know that. Okay, so this is Matthew 24 verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars." Now, is it not a war going on right now between Russia and Ukraine? Yes. So we understand and know that we're in this time. Okay, and rumors of wars. Is it a rumor that there's a rumor right now that a dirty nuke could go off in Ukraine? There's a rumor about that going on right now. You see, we got all these different kinds of rumors of war between Russia and these are all rumors. Now, we understand and know that these rumors are soon going to become true. But rumor is nothing more than just a way of saying news, which is that word rumor is akoe, if I'm saying that correctly. Which rumor, it says hearsay, report, rumor. So it's a report concerning anyone. So there's all kinds of reports and hearsay going on about Russia, about Ukraine, about Saudi Arabia, about Iran, Syria, Germany, the whole thing with the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines getting hit. These are all reports that are coming out, which is all going to lead up to a powder keg of war. You see? But we just got to remember what the prophecy says, right? What did Yahushua say? He said, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled." So when we see these things and hear of these things, us that are in the know, we're not to be troubled, right? It says, "For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." You see, so the end isn't going to follow immediately. You see, now we know that we're close to the end. We know that these things are all signs of the end. Because when you read up in Matthew the 24th chapter, that's what the disciples asked Yahushua. They asked him pretty much, what are some signs that you're going to show us to indicate that we're at the end? And these are the signs that the Lord gave, but he gave us specific instructions based upon what to look for. Okay, verse 7, it says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom." And you're seeing that happen right now with various different nations and various different kingdoms, specifically the main opponents, America and Russia. Okay. It says, "And there shall be famines," which are talking about global famines taking place. The UN is talking about 2023 is going to be a year of hell, based upon food shortages, okay, and pestilences. And must we already explain what kind of pestilences are out there that they putting out, and earthquakes in diverse places. You see, so all these things are signs that the Lord said will be happening in the last days to let us indicate that we are in the last days. So with us understanding and knowing that we're in the last days based upon the signs that we're seeing, what manner of men are we to be? How should we be conducting ourselves? What should be on the forefront of our minds? What's the most important thing that we need to be talking about and dealing with? It's prophecy. That's the most important thing in building up our people, the elect of the nation of Israel. That's who the Lord is worried about on this go around, and building up our people, beginning with the elect, with the strong foundation, which it begins with Yahushua. Okay? Not trying to big yourself up on this side and try to exploit your own agenda. No, the agenda that we're exploiting and the agenda that we're building is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's agenda. And all we are just vessels that the Lord is using to bring forth prophecy. Okay? Not bring forth prophecy, but to speak it. Okay? It says Russia and NATO have both become absolutely obsessed with winning in Ukraine, and leaders on both sides are getting angrier and angrier. Leaders on both sides. You see, and that makes me think of Proverbs 21:1, where it says that the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He turneth it whithersoever he will. Okay? It says that when leaders become extremely angry, they can do really stupid things. And then what he's alluding to is thermonuclear destruction. Which is, hey, at the end of the day, it's not going to be stupid, because that's the Lord's doing. We read it in Isaiah 54, right? It says, I have been extremely alarmed by some of the events that have transpired over the past week. Hotheads in Russia and hotheads in the Western world just continue to escalate the conflict in Ukraine, and we are getting dangerously close to the point of no return. And this is all the works of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The following are 5 signs that the war between Russia and NATO is about to spiral out of control. 1, a dirty bomb, which I just mentioned that. I just mentioned that. It says there had been a lot of chatter about the possibility that Russia could start using tactical nukes in Ukraine. And like I said, is that something that could happen? A tactical nuke? A tactical nuke is not, I mean, I'm not sitting here, I'm not by no wise or by no means saying that a tactical nuke is not devastating. All right, but a tactical, matter of fact, let's look up a tactical nuke. Let's just look the definition up of a tactical nuke. Okay. It says a tactical nuclear weapons, right? I'm reading the top here in Wikipedia. It says a tactical nuclear weapon or non-strategic nuclear weapon is a nuclear weapon that is designed to be used on a battlefield in military situations, mostly with friendly forces in proximity, and perhaps even on contested friendly territory. So a tactical nuke pretty much would be used in a sense on a battleground if you got friendlies within the area. So it's not as devastating as an ICBM thermonuclear destruction or ICBM nuclear missile, but it is a nuclear weapon. Okay. So it says could start using tactical nukes in Ukraine, and now the Russians are alleging that the Ukrainians are preparing to detonate a dirty bomb in their own territory in order to motivate the Western powers to get even more involved in the conflict. You see? Now, could that be something that could happen? It could be. But is this the end? No. It's not the end. You know? This whole issue with Ukraine could happen to whereas the Lord could happen to whereas it could not, I don't want to use the word blow over, but it could be in a sense whereas it calms down and kind of quells down for a little bit. You know? Russia's defense chief on Sunday alleged that Ukraine was preparing a provocation involving a radioactive device, right? A stark claim that reflected soaring tensions as Moscow struggles to stem Ukrainian advances in the south and is building defense positions and anticipating of Ukrainian offenses elsewhere. Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu made the allegations in phone calls with his counterparts from Britain, which Britain is a part of NATO, right? France and Turkey. France is a part of NATO. Turkey is a part of NATO. Which Turkey, you have particular individuals who are a part of NATO, which are pretty much turning on the horror. Like for example, Turkey. You see, as of lately, he also spoke to U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin in their second call in 3 days. But a terse Russian readout of that call didn't say whether the dirty bomb claim was also mentioned in their conversation. So could there be a so-called quote unquote dirty bomb that could go off in Ukraine? Possibly. It possibly could be. You see? But all these things are ultimately cues that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai has given us to indicate that war is on the way. Okay? Number 2. It says the U.S. 101st Airborne Division gets deployed to Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe, which is pretty much Western Russia. You see? Let me actually get a precept real quick. It's that Psalm 70. See the Psalm. I always get this Psalm mixed up with either Psalm 78 or Psalm 75. Let me see. It's okay, yeah, it's Psalm 75. Yep. This is Psalm 75, verse 6. It says, "For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south." So, and promotion goes into rising up, right? It says, "For the Most High is the judge." You see, Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, he's the one that's in control. He's the judge, right? He putteth down one and setteth up another. See, that's a Yahweh Bashem Al Shai is the one who's putting down, and he's the one who's raising up. You see? So when you have these different individuals moving, for lack of better words, when you have these different movements of war, it's all the Lord doing these things for his purpose, for his will to be accomplished, right? It says the 101st Airborne Division is one of the most famous units in the history of the U.S. military. And I was quite stunned to learn that they have just been deployed to Europe for the first time in almost 80 years, which is pretty big news. The U.S. Army's 101st Airborne Division has been deployed to Europe for the first time in almost 80 years amid soaring tension between Russia and the American-led NATO military alliance. And it says the American-led NATO military alliance will let you know who's the one that's riding upon the beast. You see, who's the one that's riding upon the beast? It's America. That's in control. You see, the light infantry unit, nicknamed the Screaming Eagles. Wow, it's nicknamed the Screaming Eagles, and this is how you know. This is how you know that it's prophecy, man. Let's get Obadiah real quick. It's known as the Screaming Eagles. This is Obadiah, verse 4. Start of verse 3. It says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee." And this is a prophecy against Esau. Okay, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high." Pretty much your habitation being high in the sense of being lofty, and also high in the sense of what? You trying to go into the heavens, to establish your weaponry there. You got the 6th branch of military. Ultimately you trying to play the Most High, right? It says, "That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?" Because these devils don't think that they're ever going to fall. They believe that with their weaponry, with their so-called technology, that they're going to just rule forever. They're going to be immortal. They can bypass the Most High. That's what they feel like they can do. Verse 4 says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle," and the eagle has been the sign of Esau since the time of the Romans. All right, since the time of the Greeks. You see, the Germans, America, of course. I mean, look, all you got to do is look on the back of your dollar bill, on the back of your quarter. The American eagle. That's the sign of America. Let you know who's operating modern day, who's operating in America, and who's ruling the world right now is Esau. "Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars," which the nest goes into weaponry, right? "Thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh." See that? So when you read, it says that this particular unit is called the Screaming Eagles. It's trained to deploy on any battlefield in the world within hours, ready to fight. See, and they just were deployed. It says, "For now, the Screaming Eagles are involved in exercises, quote unquote, near the Ukrainian border." Right over there in Russia's backyard. Here it is. You got beef with somebody. you got some ops. And here it is. You got a house, and you see them purchase a house right next to you, and you see them just training. You see them training daily. How would you respond? It says, but CBS News is reporting that they are prepared to cross the border into Ukraine if that becomes necessary. Okay, and it pretty much goes into the news. What's the one I'm looking for? Well, let me just read it. It says the Screaming Eagles commanders told CBS News repeatedly that they are always ready to fight. That they are always ready to fight tonight. And while they are there to defend NATO territory, if the fighting escalates or there's any attack on NATO, which the clause, I want to say it's what is it? It's a Section 5 or Article 5. Pretty much, if any NATO member gets attacked, all right, according to Article 5, all nations within that bloc have to help. You see, it says they're fully prepared to cross the border into Ukraine. Number 3, 1 million rounds of ammunition. The U.S. has never armed anyone like they are arming the Ukrainians. It says, if you can believe it, we have already given Ukraine over 1 million rounds of howitzer ammunition since the beginning of the war. A million rounds of ammunition is a lot of rounds. You see, that's a lot of rounds of ammunition. Okay, so things are heating up. Let's see. 50 billion dollars in aid. It says Iranian troops in Ukraine. Okay, Iranian troops in Ukraine, which we know the Iranians to be who? Persia. You see, and we read that in Ezekiel 38. When you go back into it, it says that Persia will be with Russia. Verse 5. Salakia. It says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet. With who? With Gog and Magog, with Russia. So come on now. What else more needs to be said, right? A lot of quote-unquote mercenaries from Western nations have been fighting alongside the Ukrainians for a long time. And now the U.S. is alleging that Iranian troops have actually entered Ukraine and are directly engaged on the ground in effort to help the Russians. Iranian troops. We just read that in Ezekiel 38:5. Persia with them. Iranian troops are directly engaged on the ground in Crimea, supporting Russian drone attacks on Ukraine's infrastructure and civilian population, the White House said. Now, this is what the White House is saying, because we understand and know that Iran is going to be a large piece in prophecy as well. Because you got Iran and Israel, the state of Israel, I'd rather say, that have been having beef and issues for many years. You see, in Iran and Russia are allies. Okay, it says the U.S. government has confirmed that Russian attacks have employed. Let me read this again. The U.S. government has confirmed that Russian attacks have employed unmanned aerial vehicles purchased from Tehran, which is in Iran, and attacks carried out against Ukrainian targets from bases on the peninsula that Russia annexed from Ukraine in 2014. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said. Okay. This conflict in Ukraine is becoming more of a world war with each passing day. World war. Like I said, is this Russian Ukraine issue going to make World War III happen tomorrow? No. Because now we do know that once the mandatory implementation of the MOTB gets pushed, we understand and know that, okay, then Yahweh Shah is returning any moment. We do know that. You see, but all this is a rumor. You see, it says that when you read in Ezekiel the 7th chapter, it says you should hear a rumor. Let me just get it real quick. Ezekiel the 7 and like 19, I think it is. Let me see. Is it Ezekiel 7? Or it might be Ezekiel 9. Here it is. All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 26. All right, it says, mischief shall come upon mischief. And what does it mean upon mischief? It means calamity or disaster. All right, it says, and rumors shall be upon rumor. So there's going to be rumors that are going to follow after another rumor. That's a rumor of a dirty bomb. It's a rumor that this is going to happen. It's a rumor that Iran is in Ukraine. You know, these are rumors, right? Then shall they seek a vision of the prophet. So at this point, when these things begin to heighten and escalate even more, what's going to happen is that you're going to have more of the common people asking questions as to what's going on. You see that? And as they ask questions of what's going on, it's going to have it to whereas the Lord is going to remove us from off the streets. He's going to have our videos be removed from YouTube. You know, you're gonna put the spirit upon Esau to cut our videos out and to pass a law, whereas we can't speak on these things anymore. We can't go on the highways and byways and speak these things anymore. And things are just going to increase at that point even more. It says, but the law shall perish from the priest and counsel from the ancients. You see, the law, the counsel from the prophets are going to perish in that day, man. As it says here, they will receive no teaching from the priests and no counsel from the leaders. And that's when the famine of the word is really going to commence. So this is also another prophecy that the famine of the word is right around the corner too, with all these different rumors. You know? Let's see. And number 5 is relentless bombing of power infrastructure. You know? And that's mainly it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I just want to do this lesson just to pull some precepts based upon the article. You know, indicating that, yes, we are in the time where these rumors are just going to continue to increase. But we understand and know, according to prophecy, how the prophecy is going to play out. You see? And it's not, it doesn't involve a war between Russia and Ukraine being the end all be all. We understand that the least of the flock is going to draw them out, which the least of the flock is talking about the so-called state of Israel drawing out America into this next world's war. We understand that we do know that the least of the flock is going to draw them out. But this is a rumor. This is all something that the Lord is. This is all the doing of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua at the end of the day, though. Don't get it twisted. All right, so, you know, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushua, B'Hashem Rachak Wadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth, and that's still our teaching this truth. And much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Shalom.